Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Gonna make another New Year's resolution. This one is about a mistake that I made this past fall. What had happened is I teach at Central Arizona College. It's a community college, and last summer I had a serious mental meltdown owing to my heartbreak situation. Just difficulty making connections here in the Phoenix area. And I was so heartbroken that I buried my head in my work, and I was doing really well with all of my students, and I got 5 out of 5 reviews, and I was writing course material and all that, and just light years ahead of what I was doing. My dean had come to observe one of my lectures, and even he was completely blown out uh, by my performance, and which is good. I got another contract starting on January 10th, I think, and it's all good. The only problem is that I was so lost during that time of the performance review that I really didn't ask for everything that I wanted. And I don't necessarily regret it, but it's one of those things that if I had it all over again, knowing what I now know, that you guys know where my heart is right now. Knowing what I now know, I would have played out the events of a few months ago differently. Obviously, I can't know what I know today 2 months ago. What I could do is next time I am in the shoes of where I was 2 months ago to understand that it moves in waves, right? And that's a big one. I always miss the wave. It's kind of like the stock market, right? You can miss. Let's see, stocks did really well in the 80s and 90s. They did really well in the 40s and 50s. It was in waves, right? And so people seem to forget that they seem to always overbuy uh, whatever has been doing well in the last 10 years. Usually that thing doesn't do too well in the next 10 years, right? Nobody's going to be buying strategic metals now, right? Because of how badly it's been doing for 100 years, right? That's kind of how I behave with my life. I know not to behave like that in the markets. I sometimes forget not to behave like that in my life and to remember that life moves in waves. Now, unfortunately, asking for that bonus or whatever at work wasn't the only thing that I missed these last couple of years. Let's go back 2 years ago. 2 years ago, I was working at a very toxic job. I was working at a tutoring center. I was not getting treated with a lot of respect. And that's when I landed the job at the community colleges. Now, when I first got there, I had a lot of doubt on my mind. I didn't want to have another toxic job. And so, to ensure against that, I took 2 jobs and I started doing a lot of gig work. And then I started doing my most proudest of gig work ever, right? And unfortunately, did it ensure against toxicity at Phoenix College? Yes and no. It made it easier when untoward things were said to say, hey, excuse me, I don't think that's appropriate, right? It made it easier to do that, but obviously it also zapped all the energy to do all the good stuff at work, right? So it was a mixed bag. I wish I didn't have to play that trade off. I really love having multiple sources of income to hedge against each other. I really do. But unfortunately, when energies get zapped, when I start showing up to work tired, when I spill molten metal everywhere, or all the rest, right? No time for social life. That's when I start. That's when I Peter Dis. I wish I could have the best of both worlds. Anybody have an idea? Leave a comment here. But anyway, during that time, there were so many opportunities to network with people that I outright missed. I started to, after I had met my now girlfriend, I started to think about all the other times where I really could have made a move on a girl that I can count at least 5. Let's name a few of them. I was at actually there were 3 at some various meetup groups. I used to play a lot of board games at meetup groups. I got so frustrated that I have left the board game community, but part of the frustration was my own doing because of all the opportunities that I missed. there was this one girl who was fascinated with all the crystals that I was making, always asking me about it. And for some reason, I didn't draw the connection. And by the time I figured it out, she stopped showing up. And so I had so many opportunities. I must have seen her every week for like at least 3 months, and I didn't make a move on her. There was another girl who was she was just leaving a very toxic job, and so was I at the time. We had a discussion about it. We had two discussions about it 2 weeks in a row, and I thought the third week that I see her, I was going to ask her out on a date. The truth is, I probably wouldn't have, even if I had seen her a third time. But unfortunately, I never saw her again after that second time. And then I came really close this one time, except I was put off by something that I probably shouldn't have been. I was at another meetup group, and unfortunately, some of the meetup groups can be really toxic in terms of ableism. I have food allergies. Some people are really nice. They'll eat with one hand and play with the other, right? So that they don't have to get food all over their board game sets. Some of these people just really love their board games. They don't want to get food all over them anyway, right? But I had to walk out in the middle of a game because this guy insisted on getting pizza everywhere. And I sat down in another group, and I say, something. First of all, I asked them, are you guys done eating? Because I have food allergies. And they were. And I explained that I'm sorry to bother all of you guys, but I really enjoy these games, but the allergies really drive me crazy every time I get here. And one of the girls there really understood. And I would have made a move on her, except I was a little bit put off by something. She then explained, she'd shown me this device that she had connected to her, and says she totally understands because she has, I won't say, she had a chronic health condition. I won't say what, because, again, at the time I was really put off by it. And I got too put off by it because you got to understand, I was juggling 3 jobs, and I had very little social life. That one meetup group that I went to was like my one down hour in that whole week. And I didn't want to necessarily mingle with somebody who had a chronic health condition that needed tending to all the time, right? I was real put off by that at the time. I really shouldn't have been. Anyways, so I... And then I guess I didn't react in the right way, and things just didn't work after that. I mean, I did see her after that, but I missed so many opportunities. Those weren't even the only 3 over the last few years. And then I missed the opportunity to ask for a raise or vacation time or whatever at my last performance review. I missed a lot of opportunities to say what I need to say. And I just let so many things sail by, right? It's just really unfortunate. It's kind of like anybody who is watching gold prices going, I should have bought when it crashed here. I should have bought when it crashed there, right? By the way, you're going to be saying that about strategic metals 20 years from now. Please mark my words, right? This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum, 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 bum.